Here's something to ponder. Politicians and the truth. How is it that politicians lie? Yes, there are politicians who flat out lie. For instance, when they talked about death panels in Obamacare, there are no death panels. That is simply a lie. Those lies are sometimes intentful. There's intent to lie. A lot of times, there's no intent in the lie. For instance, when Obama said if you like your health insurance, you can keep it. Yes, it was a lie, but I'm not so sure he intended to lie or that he purposely lied and misled people. So yes, there is a difference between lying and not meaning it and lying and meaning it. But here's the other way that politicians lie. It's what I'll call a half lie. They don't really lie, but at the same time, they're not telling the truth because they're not telling the full story. Here's a great example. Last year, in 2013 in November, when Chris Christie in New Jersey ran for re-election, he ran against a woman named Barbara Buono. He was the Republican, obviously, she was the Democrat. And so a major thing that he said during the campaign is that Barbara Buono voted to raise her own pay by 40% when she was in the legislature. And that's true. That comment is 100% true. She did vote to raise her pay 40%. PolitiFact investigated this claim, rated it 100% true. I'll include the link to the article in this video explanation. And so yes, the claim is true. It is true she raised her pay. She voted to raise her pay 40%. But here's where he's not telling the full truth. So he's not lying, but he's not telling the full truth because he's not adding the proper context. First of all, he did not say that this happened 13 years ago in 2000, 13 years before he said it. But what he also forgot to note was that one of the original two co-sponsors of it was a Republican, a very, very good friend of his named Joe Krillos, a Republican state senator, one of Christie's best friends in the state legislature, introduced this bill. Introduced by a Republican, half of the Republicans in the state Senate and state assembly voted for it. It passed in a Republican-controlled legislature at the time, and it was signed into law by a Republican governor, Christine Todd Whitman. Also, what he did not mention was that it also, part of this package to raise salaries, also raised the governor's salary. And so his salary today, which is $175,000, is at that level because of this exact piece of legislation. So if he thinks it's so bad that Barbara Buono voted to raise her own pay, maybe he shouldn't take the extra pay that was added onto his salary. And so here's a clear case of a politician not lying, but not telling the full truth either. Yes, he was right. She voted to raise her pay 40%. But at the same time, he was not telling the full truth. He was misleading New Jerseyans because he forgot to say that the law was sponsored by a good friend, a Republican of his. Half the Republicans in the entire 120-seat legislature voted for it. It was signed into law by a Republican governor, and it raises the governor's pay to what it currently is today, money that, unlike Jon Corzine, his predecessor, he gladly is taking from taxpayers. So there you go. Politicians and not telling the full truth, they are something to ponder.